save it for the podcast. We'll talk about the breathing meditations on the airplane because they let you eat.
Well, we're
right?
live.
Are we? So my flights from Florida, coming back from Florida and everything like that. Everyone's got to have the mask. I take them off in the airport. You got to wear them through security. They make you do that now. But then I just take them off when I go through security and walk through the airport regular till I get on the plane. Then you have to have a mask. I make them give me one. I'm like, do you have a mask? And they give me one. Then I go walk to the plane. Then you got to go through that. And when the eating period comes, it's like, oh, well, when you're eating or drinking, you can use your mask, right? You can take it off. So everyone's like, okay, how can I stretch this out? I'm sipping on my water, doing all these other kind of things. And so what I did after the eating and the drinking, I did breathing meditations. I had like in a meditational kind of thing, and I would breathe, and I'd be like sacred breath, and they left me alone for like 20-30 minutes.
Then they said something that finally?
Didn't say, well, when we finally were getting ready to land, she came by, but it was like, because I actually had it all lined up. I was like, well, when she's going to come and confront me, not, because they're obviously very sensitive, because they even say it when you get on the plane, like, it's not our mandate, it's, don't take it out on the people. So there's obviously...
It's the government mandate.
Yeah, there's obviously some nervousness. There's going to be some rambunctious passengers. So, they're trying to dispel all that. And so anyway, it was like, okay, if they say anything to me, I'm going to be like, this is, when I travel for long periods of time and I have to wear the mask, I have to do, my breathing meditations. It's, it's just something that I need to do. It's kind of sacred to me.
Sure.
Breath is sacred to me.
Sure.
It's a human right, damn it.
And then I'm like, where are they going to take it with that? They're going to be like, because the next thing they do, well, you have to wear it. I'm like, well, I was okay to put it down when I ate. Why can't I do my breathing meditations now? To me, I'm feeding my soul. I'm feeding my soul. You let me feed my body, but you won't let me feed my soul. But I never got I never got asked that question. They just let me do it.
Well, were your eyes kind of closed when you did your breathing? Like, because if you're just
I
totally
did.
in the zone,
No,
you don't even notice it.
And
What are they going to touch you?
No, and I was really like, and the person next to me and everything like that. I mean, I was really like breathing, like I was really taking it seriously. So I wasn't just kind of like fucking off and saying, oh, I'm doing a breathing meditation. I was like, no, I was going the whole hog. I was like breathing it in and breathing it out.
I flew with an old man on my way to Chicago. He was probably 85. And I just sat beside him because I'm always the last one to board because I always like to pick my seat. So I can always pick the best one, So he was not first class, but he was a couple rows back, and there's a lot of leg room and shit. So I sat down beside him. Very old. Didn't have his mask over his face, had it down by his chin. And I was like, all right, I didn't know what to think. As we go on, they keep coming over and they go, sir, can you pull your mask up? He goes, oh, that's right. I'm like, what a joke.
Oh, I forgot about that mask thing.
I finally made the comment.
That slipped my mind.
I'm like, what a joke, huh? He goes, absolutely. I said, and I was drinking. I always drink on flights. I take like 6 airplane bottles. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, God give us the immune systems and they tend to work. And I didn't realize he was a traveling pastor, like a minister.
No kidding.
And he loved that, and that opened up the conversation. And he preached to me in a way that shook me to my core. And he goes, when you return from the trip, I would like you to read the book of John. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. And
What's that book all about?
It's the whole story of Jesus from John's perspective, I suppose. But okay, so
all
during
about
the
the stories,
conversation, this dude is fearless, 85 years old, frail, skinny, old. They keep coming over. At one point, they sent a different person. They say, sir, we've asked you 6 times to pull your mask up. And he just
They're preying on the weak.
He just wouldn't do it. It was awkward for me because I was totally on his side, but I was like, this is getting really awkward because they keep coming over here and making a scene.
So was he acting like he couldn't hear? I mean, what was he doing?
No, he just kept smiling at them and going, oh, yes, thank you. And then it would just fall right off his face, and that was it. It was amazing.
It was like a loose underwear with no elastic band.
The trippy part of the story, 2 months later.
Like the last pair of underwear that you got to get, and it's got no elasticity.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. 2 months later, I'm sitting on the beach with my mother, and I was like, I met this most fascinating pastor man. And I was like, he told me to read the book of John. And I was like, I just really feel like I should do it. I checked my email. He emailed me right then.
You guys exchanged emails?
Yeah.
You were that close?
Well, we talked for like 3 hours.
You trauma bonded.
We did. And he hadn't messaged
There's all
me.
different versions of
He
foxholes.
happened to message me 2 months later as I was talking about him on the beach. I was like, that's fucking magic. It goes back to the God thing.
We were talking about Clarence today, and he called us. You know, it's like weird.
We were talking about my uncle,
and
then all of a sudden my uncle texted me, which we talk once every 2 months.
What's his name?
Clarence.
Does he have 2 names? Because he has
Uncle
Ben
Clarence.
has like 2 names.
Mr. Gallo.
It's like you're Ben, and then you're Dave, and then
he's got 2 names. Uncle Clarence. Benz.
Ben only has one name. I'm the only weirdo that calls him his original name.
He's the only one who calls me my Christian
You
name.
changed
Dave.
your name.
I've been Ben since I was born. They named me David Benjamin, but they always knew I was going to be Ben.
Nice, kind of like I'm no longer Scott, I'm Bodhi.
You're Bodhisattva.
Yeah, I'm Scotty.
Is that kind of like Yusuf Islam?
Tanalawi Bodhisattva.
Like, you know,
with 2 P's
you know,
and an H.
you know, Cat
like
Stevens.
Safa, because it's got a little bit of that female like suffix thing in there. Instead
That's a
of
little bit
T's.
like Yusuf Islam. You're taking a second part of life here.
I'm
You're
mixing
going
it
in
all up,
deep.
man. I'm a mixer. You know,
I love your spirituality.
Some people quarantine their food and like not have anything touched. When I go for my turkey, I'm like, I want the turkey with the potatoes, with the stuffing, with the
You know
cranberry,
exactly
and the
what
gravy.
you want now.
I want it all on the fork.
What's the name again?
Tanalawi Bodhisattva. You can call me
It's
Bodhi.
not-
You
it's
can
not-
call
it's
me
not
Bodhi.
easy.
And I didn't even realize, and I watch a lot of movies, you know, I didn't even think about like, you know, there's movies like Point Break and there's other things called Bodhi that I've seen in my past growing up in, you know, culture, and Point Break was
Maybe
a
a
movie with
Pixar film, Bodhi.
Right, but I did
No,
not.
Bodhi's
but
is
now I-
Point Break.
But Bodhisattva is basically a Buddhist term for somebody who's awakened, and instead of like going off into nirvana, they come back and are like, you know, I'm just gonna
They're in the
chill.
world.
I'm gonna hang out here for a
and
while.
I'm gonna be my best self, and I'm gonna spread the light, and that's how I'm gonna serve. I'm gonna let people experience me in my awakened state, and that's gonna help them get awake. And that's what a Bodhisattva is. That's the actual term. So that's where it comes from. But I didn't realize when you look back at Point Break, you know, he was like this crazy surfer guy robbing banks and everything like that. His name was Bodhi. So they're dropping all these truth bombs in all these movies.
Oh, really?
And we don't even know. Yeah, and since Danny hasn't watched any movies, we're gonna have him watch Point Break, and we're gonna
You've
discern.
seen 4 now.
We're gonna discern the Bodhisattva with Patrick Swayze's character in Point Break. We're gonna look at it through the lens of spirituality and be like, holy cow, holy cow, holy cow.
That reminds me. So you've seen 3 movies. You saw Speed, Titanic, and what was the other one?
Braveheart,
No, that's the 4th one.
This is a new
You've
one,
only
yeah.
seen 3. Speed, Titanic. What was the other one? that you've seen?
Shawshank Redemption.
Okay. So now you finally saw
Shawshank
Braveheart. I would
Great
love
movie.
to hear you.
Amazing spiritual movie.
Amazing
And that's a spiritual movie.
He's
yeah.
Beautiful.
climbing through the dungeons, bro.
The shit.
You
The
have,
shitholes.
well, you have
And
to.
those bloodhounds can't keep up with him.
You have to go through the shithole to come out the other
He's
side.
the only
And
guy in
what
the
it-
world who hadn't seen Braveheart. So what do you think about Braveheart as someone who's freshly seen it? We all wish it was the first time we'd seen it.
Well, I didn't understand what was going on.
In
And
what way?
I could tell there was an upset kind of protagonist,
These Scottish people are kind of pissed.
and I could tell they were pissed, and something having to do with his wife being offered up to the government. Then he just went on a rampage after they slit her throat, in which I was like, is this real or is she acting? And long story short, there was a couple of interactions between the Scottish king, especially the
There was
Scottish
a documentary.
oligarch,
There was a documentary for Danny.
and I just didn't understand.
That documentary about the Scottish folks.
Let's be clear. You're the only person who saw Braveheart and didn't get it.
I don't. Yes. And-
Even at the end, when they're ripping out his guts and he's screaming freedom, you didn't really get it.
I didn't get the nuances.
Did you have to
I
circle
knew
back
what the-
and like
I
an
knew what
Oprah
the
book
overall-
club kind of
What
group
did
and
he
talk
mean?
about it?
What did
I
he
didn't
mean?
really resonate with that. I didn't
What
really
did he
resonate
mean?
with the freedom thing.
I'm not sure.
what
Why
he
was he
meant.
attacking England?
I knew what the theme was, freedom,
You did.
but I didn't know the nuances. Which there are some interactions between he and the king's father who's dying, who was part of Scotland, and then he turned on him.
Well, there's
There
lots
was-
of, there's
there
lots
was
of kings
some
in
of that-
Braveheart. There's like Longshanks, and then there's like,
Longshanks.
and then there's the Earl of Bruce's dad, who's like a leper, and he's trying to guide the Earl of Bruce, and Bruce wants to be courageous. And are we doing a little Braveheart synopsis here?
Well,
I think
we
so,
don't
yeah.
have to continue
No,
about
no,
that.
I like it.
But let
What's
me.
wrong with
What was the destination of Morgan Freeman in Shawshank?
Beautiful island. Well, not an island, a beach.
Well, no, he had to get Tewataneo.
Where's that?
Tewataneo is where Andy Dufresne wound up on the beach with his boat. That's where he wanted to go. He's
Go
like,
on. You
if
said
the-
it. You just said it.
Tewataneo.
His destination was a sailboat.
Well, no, it was well, it could be, but it was a boat in general.
He went to work on a sailboat, particularly. He
I
has
think
no
it-
interest
I
in a
think- I think
motorboat.
it was just kind of a boat.
No, it was significantly a sailboat.
We might have
Really?
to have a little wager at the end when he comes on the beach after doing.
You think
Red
he bought a
doing his-
motor troller?
No, he was at the end of the movie. Andy Dufresne is on the beach, and
You
and,
say
and,
it
the,
so pompously.
and the boat is on the beach. This is where I'm going to take his money. That's why I'm going to bet him because I know the end. And
You're
he's,
not getting much.
It's not a sailboat with $1.50. $1 American dollar.
Okay.
Andy Dufresne.
How about 300 pesos?
I could Google
That's
this
fine.
shit right
Well,
now.
yeah. Well, you can look at the end scene.
I could blast
Andy
off.
Dufresne is on the beach, and it's
you
not.
think that he would get a motor troller for his freedom?
I don't know what it was, but it was just a boat
What
on the beach.
represents freedom to you? You missed the point.
Well, you're talking about representing and what was in the movie. They're two different things. In the movie, Andy Dufresne is on the beach with just a boat. It has no sail on
I
it.
don't think it's Andy. It's Morgan.
No,
Morgan's fixing up the sailboat.
No, Morgan is walking up and he sees Andy working on the boat.
Andy's the one working on the boat.
Yes.
Okay. I've seen.
And Red had just made his journey to meet him there, walking in his tie and everything like that. And Andy's on the beached
And
boat.
they've already approached that tree.
And there are no sails on the boat that Andy's working on. And this is the wager. There's no sails on the boat that Andy.
There
Dufresne
better
is
be
working.
sails. Or that
We're betting an American dollar on that.
Well, I had a
But
video
it's
sent
okay.
to me just now of my baby taking a
And,
bath.
this is when Ben will clip in the end of the movie
Oh yeah.
and show like where this
And
conversation.
one of you owes one of you a dollar.
I can't imagine.
I know
it's a
you will
motor.
owe me a dollar.
So it's not a sailboat.
There's no sails on the boat.
So it's one of these shitty crisscross.
I don't know what it is. There are no sails on the boat that Andy Dufresne is working on at
That's
the
a
end
director
of Shawshank.
mistake. Who made the direction of that
It's
movie?
just a cool little old
So now you
boat.
got a problem with the film because there's no sails on the boat?
Well, I give it an 8 out of 10 if there's no sails.
To
on the
me,
boat.
the point of the movie was escape from the system.
we can do like CGI and like put
and
like
add
sails.
sails. You think
know,
I have to add
like
sails?
the Lucasfilm like redo of Star Wars? It's like the Andy Dufresne boat has now sails on it. You know.
There's a night and day. So there's an 8-star review and a 10-star review.
Well, I have a hot take. Andy did kill his wife. That's what the whole thing was. He did actually kill his. He's guilty.
No, it was the dude who was like had the weird teeth at the end who was talking to the young kid.
That
in
was
the cell
Andy's
room.
imagination.
Really?
He killed his wife.
Wow,
was
you're
all-
really going in.
I'm going all in.
So you don't get
I'm doing one
Braveheart.
right
No
now.
wonder you don't watch many movies.
Yeah.
Because I make them up.
Tell me, what was Speed about, Mitch?
Speed, there's a bus out of control coming up the city line, Los Angeles.
Who was the antagonist in Speed? Who played the antagonist?
Good
Keanu.
question. No.
No, he's the protagonist.
Who
Who was on the other side?
Dennis Hopper.
Oh, bingo.
Dennis Hopper's always the antagonist.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Well, but he isn't. He isn't. He's like a protagonist antagonist.
Yeah, he's likable. He's a likable bad boy. That's
I'm
a great movie. Can you
I'm a
believe,
protagonist.
He was
You're
the
an
deacon of the
antagonist.
D's in the Waterworld.
God, Speed. That's so realistic because that happens more than they report. That story.
I love whiskey and a coffee cup. I love whiskey and a coffee cup.
It is nice.
I do that all the
I
time.
Well,
like
I
the
love
solo cup.
camouflage, as you know, Daniel.
I know. And you're a good man for that.
Yeah, like in my town, the whole thing with the bus that goes under 50, it'll explode. That shit, like,
Come on,
it's
son,
kind of
come on.
common. I don't want to jinx it. Knock on wood, it hadn't happened in a couple months, but like it's
Now that we're here in Baltimore, do you want to talk about the Catholic Church?
sure.
And I just want to touch on.
They're a
'cause I'm
bunch of
looking at a
pervert freaks.
beautiful.
Is that what you're looking? You're looking at the spire over there?
Well, the diocese located here in Baltimore City. This is.
what is
the,
a diocese? I'm not familiar with these
Yes,
terms.
you are.
Well, I know the term, but I don't know what it is. What is a diocese? I really don't know.
First of all, I'm not perfect at it, but I'll give you my best explanation, and it's simple. It's
I'm
3
gonna
words.
send it into the religious people.
Local. They control the 5 Catholic churches that exist in a city or a municipality, and that's the diocese. It's like the headquarters of the.
They're like the wheel hub or whatever. They're like the
Junior
the
management.
organization.
Junior management.
Is it true
Junior.
that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
But for the city, they're the top management.
Is Catholicism where you can say you're sorry and God forgives you no matter what?
if you mean it.
Is that why you're Catholic, Mitch?
I've sinned more than most men with a cock.
Most men
So
do
you're
have cocks.
you're a sex criminal. You're a pervert.
Not on record. But,
So it's not official.
well, we haven't got the litter
You haven't
boxes
gotten
into the
caught yet.
unisex bathroom yet.
You haven't gotten caught yet.
Once we get the...
Do you mind if I refill my liquor while you guys kind of
Who's your favorite boy?
Just hook me up, too.
Who's your favorite boy in your class? Tell me what he looks like. Is he friendly?
Explain
got
your
blonde
favorite
hair.
boy in your class. You're fired. I mean, you're fired tomorrow.
No, this is the new thing.
I'm
Everyone loves
posting.
pedophiles now,
You know
right?
what's crazy? Oh,
That's
yeah,
what-
now,
that's what they're trying to
now
convince us of. Like,
pedophiles
yeah,
are
no.
humans more
No,
than you
they're,
are.
They're really good people, just misunderstood. And
Esteban's a pedophile.
They're just interesting.
Esteban's gonna knock it.
Fucking dog has to step on the computer.
He's gonna do that for sure. Don't he's
Esty,
he's not even.
Don't step on the goddamn computer.
he's my son,
You
like
had
your
to get
baby's
another-
your
He
baby.
was fined
If
up
it was your
front.
son, I'd say don't step on a computer.
He was fined up front. And,
I think you mean
hey, Ben, bring the
computer.
booze and the ice and everything up here, so we don't have to go mobile. We can have everything within our little sanctuary.
Look, the
here.
banking system has got me completely.
Really?
Got a new card.
I collected like a bunch of shells down in Florida. Can we exchange that as money? Our money? Like this? It's kind of like good. It's like bloom. This is really cool. There's a minister here in Baltimore, and we talk about bloom or die as part of Radicalized, which is, you got to go into your full consciousness, or you're going to be harvested. Your consciousness. We were at a point now.
You had such a good rant last night about bloom or die. A couple of really good ones.
Well, because I really think that's the essence of where we're at right now. It's no joke anymore. It's like you need to bloom into your best self and be aware of your divine spark inside and bloom your consciousness, or you are going to be harvested in another way. You are going to be a flower that pollinates the world, or you're going to be a dead stalk and the gardener's going to take you out. This is the way I see the world right now. They talk about the hope of prophecies and the splits and everything like that. This is the way that I see it. Wheat from the chaff, all kinds of references to this moment in time.
Are you a weed or are you blooming kind of thing? And can you be a weed and bloom?
Well, the wheat isn't a flower, but I mean, it's it's the same kind of thing.
A weed is or is not a flower?
Wheat is not a flower. It might be.
Wheat. I thought you said
I'm not
weed.
much of no wheat. Yeah.
We didn't talk about the bloom or die. What should we tell her to do differently?
Who?
The woman who did those designs. She did like 4 random designs.
I didn't
The
look
green one's kind of fucking cool.
this is where I fall in that kind of stuff. I like everything that you're like doing with
They're
the
all
podcast.
close.
So I want you to do what you see and you want to interpret. It's not my vision for the bloom or die, and I'll hone that later.
Right.
But it's not important for me to be like, oh no, that's not the skull I want. That's not the flower I want. I want you to pick.
You don't want to be nitpicky about it.
Yes. And when
He's kind of happy
I'm gonna
with
nitpick
what.
her a little bit. I think she's really close.
we need a little more,
More bloom, I think.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. It's like I like the bloom or die concept. I have a vision like with the
more
typewriter logos and the actual lotus flower that I sent you and the actual skull that I sent you. I actually see it literally that way, but I'll refine that later.
See, I sent her that flower, and she came up with that, which is not the same.
Well, she's Indian, and this is how these are some of the shortcomings of dealing internationally with people for like 15 pesos an hour.
Yeah.
You just don't get the flowers you want, even though you
it's
send
not,
them.
Once you give her 15 American dollars, it's like 1,500.
The
pesos.
year of
Yeah,
me
she's
from like a
rich,
few years
shit
ago
rich.
would be like, what the fuck? This is not the flower I sent you. What the fuck? This is not the skull I sent you.
I mean, it is a pink lotus.
But I don't carry that energy anymore. Bodhi doesn't do that.
It's a pink lotus, but it's not the same.
I didn't get lotus from anything that she did.
It is that. I think she just.
I think she did a great job.
I think she just literally Googled pink lotus flower, and then,
It's about getting started at this point, fellas. It's about just getting started.
But I want to commit to it before we get, because we're gonna fucking pay for it to become stickers. And
I want to
things.
come back to a question. Oh, let's finish this. Then I have a quick question. And so I like the green one, the neon fucking green with the black background, the graveyard,
Just a
and 2
simple
blooms
bloom or
coming
die.
out of the side of it.
And this is why I want you guys to roll with it, because it's your podcast and you have a vision for this thing. It's just an archetype that
I think
I'm
it's
talking
super
about.
sick.
So
Do you think then for that design, how about bigger flowers coming off the thing then at least?
You want more bloom than death.
Yeah, well, at least equal amounts. That's very much die, not very much bloom. How about those things
You can
growing
eat-
out? Flowers
I
growing
like
out of a
I like the
tombstone is fucking cool.
I like the stuff like that. I thought that was kind of
That was cool, and she came up with that on her own, like in 5 seconds.
And
Which
you got
one?
to
The
let
one with
people
the
do that.
all of them, but the ones the flowers growing out of the tombstone, that's kind of very good. It's a very good idea.
Let's,
mean, it really captures-
Roll with that highlighter fucking green in the black background. That was really cool.
Are we back on the podcast stuff? Because we're not going to put the bloom or die stuff on. We might. I mean,
I might be able to cut
You
it.
can
can
edit however you want.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, let's talk about the sun, because the sun was so warm earlier, and now with this kind of chemtrail haze, and it is. You could see them coming in. You could see these long lines, and then this is what it creates. It's literally blocking the sun, and they've actually admitted to it now with the geoengineering, and everyone's like, oh, these chemtrails. And you're like, no, that's just what planes do. But you're like, well, they've admitted it and called it geoengineering, and now it's Bill Gates and all this kind of stuff. Oh, I didn't hear about that. Well, that's true. Well, these are the way the clouds have always been. No, it's like, so didn't you put those two things together? And you can see what it does. And you can see the importance of the sun. And then you start saying, what is the sun? Well, it's a big giant gas ball 93 million miles away. And it's like, no, it's kind of like pure consciousness that shines equally on everybody. And the sun feels so wonderful. And it's like a download. And you go out there and receive it like some kind of sun worshiper, which is like me. Or you can like put your little hats on with your sunglasses.
You
and
are
walk,
a goddamn sun
and walk-
worshiper.
I am, man. I'm a fucking,
Me
I
too,
suck
honestly.
Apollo's dick.
Me too.
Metaphorically.
I thought Apollo was the water guy.
Metaphorically. No, that's
That's
Aquaman.
Poseidon.
Oh, that's Aquaman?
Or Poseidon, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Poseidon,
I think
dude.
there's a couple of them.
You're
I think
mixing
we're
up
gonna-
comic books and archetypes, buddy.
Look,
You know.
you are definitely
Watch
a
the
sun.
movies.
We're gonna need
Ben
like
is
a rap.
also a sun.
He's only
worshiper.
watched 4 movies, so his,
Yeah.
his iconography's not so good.
So you haven't even seen Marvel Endgame?
You know the little flower that I was hanging around with? I was gonna say banging around with, but hanging around with down there. It was like, she
Dave, what's going on with your screensaver?
It's all good.
she oh my god, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Your little flower
the
down.
flower
down
you're
there.
hanging out with.
Yeah, but I was
Banging
gonna,
out
I was,
with.
no, I was gonna talk about
You're getting your dick sucked, aren't you?
no, you know, it's not about smashing the genitals for Bodhi as much anymore as like deep entwined spirituality.
Is that
sex.
right?
So
Yeah.
Bodhi's gone gay.
That's not gay. That's like
Bodhi's
you know,
gone asexual.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bodhi's gone spiritual.
I don't like to. I don't like.
Bodhi's
You're
Yusuf
trying
Islam,
to.
and
I
Yusuf
understand.
Islam is Bodhi.
The greatest thing a man can do
I used
is
to be
remove
a-
his dick from the
I
whole
used to be a
equation.
porn director.
Yeah.
I really kind of was.
What?
Yeah, in a way, with my world that I lived. Not in, you know, I engaged in some frivolity when I was your boy.
Did you make some money?
No.
or was it all just
no,
for the
no, not as much as you.
I never made any money on porno.
How could you not?
Because I'm not that kind of a boy.
But you filmed like 1,000 videos.
No.
Didn't he film like people on this very boat?
He has like at least
Are we speaking truth?
3 hours of
All right,
porn.
He's gonna clip one of these
No,
in right
'cause
now.
you got the numbers are twisted. There was one time I did that.
These are your stories.
There's one time
See
I
how
did
stories can run out of control. You give me
that.
something.
There was
and
one
then
time we had thousands of viewers, but it was only a one-time thing, and you can't find that. What I'm worried about is with technology, they'll be able to take my voice right now and put that into some search engine, or it'll find it. I know it's coming.
Well, they at Google headquarters. They
Anyway,
we
where
got to
were
go
we
to
going?
Gab. We got to go to Gab. We got to align with people so we don't have to think about these algorithmic kind of spies.
Oh, dude, it's all
I can't
coming.
spend any of my time thinking about algorithmic spies.
No, I'm
can't
already
do
thinking.
that.
I'm already overloaded with the 4 movies I've watched,
I want to pay you guys in seashells. That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
and that I
Yeah.
don't understand.
I'll give you 4 seashells for that Corona.
I watch all these movies. I don't understand.
Bodhisattva.
Yeah, man, I'm going a different direction.
I will never understand
We're-
Shawshank.
At the end of season 2 of Radicalized, it's going to be the big split. Fuck you guys. But I won't say it that way because Bodhi doesn't do that. He'll be like, namaste.
You throw us a
Namaste.
couple seashells.
Yes.
Here's for your troubles.
Exactly. Use these the right fucking way.
You show
Don't
up,
spend it all
you
in
got
one
2
place.
seashell necklaces. You hit a seashell necklace. Say, I wish you both well.
You don't understand the walk I was on when I found those seashells. Actually, I joke about this, but it was actually a very lovely thing that some guy was an ice cream salesman, and he was on Twitter or something like that, and he was like, some little girl came up and wanted to change a nice blue rock that she'd found, spent all day looking for it, was one of her favorite rocks, and she wanted to trade that for an ice cream. And he said, so now I am 1 blue rock richer. So he was an ice cream guy who took this little
Oh, he
girl's
accepted her
he
payment.
accepted her little blue, and this is kind of what the whole
He's
thing
one
of
of a kind.
Radicalized is. But this is the age of Aquarius that we're going into. It's like, what is currency? What is money? Well, it's energetic prana, right? It's like, well, I spent all day picking up this rock, and it's like my favorite rock. So if you treat it like a hoarding item, like, oh, this is a favorite thing, and I really like it, isn't that the same? Like, I'll trade you these beads for Manhattan. It's like what is money? It's like, well, if your energy and attention, like that little girl's energy and attention was in this blue
Wow.
rock, it can become an ice cream.
Yeah.
And you can be grateful for the blue rock, even though it doesn't have like a dead present on it.
Yeah.
Never barter with Scotty. Have you ever bartered?
Well, I'm taking this. I'm taking this boat for. I don't know what I'm going to find.
Never barter. I've done it in the
A big old
past.
conch.
When,
Yeah, I'm
before
gonna
I
come in,
met
it's like,
Scotty,
I found this really great golden conch, Danny.
before I met him, bartering with him is a fucking nightmare because
barter
I
with
was
him?
gonna buy his shit. I was gonna buy his boat and his stuff, and
oh, you were
he
predatory. I
goes,
didn't know you were like secretly predatorial. Like, I'm going to get that guy's shit.
Oh, he's a predatory boy.
it wasn't
It's in the
predatory.
eyebrows.
When Danny
It's
sees something
in
he
the
wants,
eyebrows.
Danny gets with Danny.
Yeah. Oh, I covet these items.
I'm gonna
No,
grab
I'm
my,
just saying he's talking about
my-
sacred seashells.
I covet your items.
Be careful with those lines.
Where are you going, brother? Where are you going?
I'm grabbing my dip.
Get it all. Bring it all
Oh,
up
let me
here.
try some of that
Bring
shit.
the booze up. Bring everything up, man. We need it all here.
Bring the booze too, please.
Yeah, we're about halfway through, and we don't want to leave again because then you're going to hit something and get upset.
My fucking ass has to somehow find the strength to drive 5 hours.
I think you could do a night here.
No, I cannot. There's no way.
Why?
I'll never sleep without my child once more and never again.
Really? Look at that.
That's all she's like 1 or something.
You were like attached. So we're going to have to build you like an Indian papoose
Well, I
to
love her
carry
so
her
much.
around. So Amelia Jade's going to start joining us for the podcast.
Yeah, no,
She's gonna-
she will.
Instead of that little thing like
She's
this.
gonna be wearing.
Yeah,
he's gonna be
it'll
wearing
be
like
Amelia Jane back here, like
Is
bouncing
there anything
around.
you can talk to
He's
your
such
gods
a lib.
about, either of you, about just making travel instantaneous? Why does distance have to be a thing? We don't have to talk about distance.
Actually, if you don't worry about how much time it takes to get somewhere, you think like, okay, like I was in Florida a couple days ago, and I'm not even thinking about the journey now. So in a way, it's like once you get there, the time behind you evaporates.
It's over.
So if you start seeing time as non-linear, even though you're participating in like a long planes, trains, and automobile
Time
journey,
is definitely non-linear, but distance doesn't seem that way.
Yeah,
But
the
like
problem
we
is
are-
when I'm
we
in
are
the
here
car,
now.
I'm gonna be very aware that I'm in the like when I leave. This is gonna suck.
You're gonna
bad.
podcast your ass off.
I shouldn't worry about it yet, but I'm gonna get in the car.
2 good podcasts.
And it's gonna suck for about
one
5
Joe
hours.
Rogan.
See, we're
and
gonna
one
we're gonna
more.
change the energy of that. We're gonna alchemize that because this is what Bodhi does. And
How can
you're
it be
gonna be
good?
grateful that you have a car to get into. Maybe you're gonna stop at Burger King and get an awesome Whopper.
There you go.
We are gonna judo this.
You might.
Your
Yes.
travels are going to be wonderful. The journey back to Amelia Jane is going to be fantastic.
See,
It's
the
like,
only
oh,
problem
this sucks,
is-
terrible journey, hate it, can't stand it, and then all of a sudden the flat tire comes.
There's only one thing I want, and that's Chick-fil-A.
And it's here.
It's closed today.
It's Sunday.
Oh,
Can we set up a black market Sunday Chick-fil-A?
You could probably do something.
I
close.
bet we could make some. Go on Saturday and buy all their shit, and then be like, Fells Point Chick-fil-A
And
Sundays.
it's only open one day a
And
week.
that's the kind of stuff you can do in Baltimore. You can be a bootlegger. We
tell
can be
me about
Chick-fil-A
Baltimore because I think Ben told me that you said a wonderful thing about Baltimore. You said it's a city that's not sure what it quite is yet.
It's undecided. It's up for grabs.
I think it's up for grabs. I think it's found bedrock. I think Baltimore's been through a lot. It's kind of disparaged a little bit. Like if you're in another place, so to speak, and you say that you're in Baltimore, people are like, oh, you're like in that terrible
Why
kind
do
of
they
place.
do that?
I don't know. I don't know either. But
Is it because of the wire and some of this bullshit?
Well, no. Well, and the TV,
Partly, yeah.
it's kind of one of those like cities like a Chicago where all the bad stuff happens with the black people, and it's like that's kind of like the way people see it when they're in Illinois and when they're in like wherever, and it's like
So where's the truth?
Well, when I came here from Middleburg, Virginia, which is kind of like the opposite, it's
The Beverly Hills of Virginia.
it's beautiful. It's landed gentry. There are all these beautiful people there with the horses and the country and the energy.
the
there is
women with
great.
the tight pants,
Well, it's,
joggers and shit.
Not many. I don't run too many joggers. There are more horses. Women love the horses out there. They have to have their big.
What do they do
accessory.
with these horses?
They ride them. Horses are for riding, Danny. Didn't you get that in Braveheart?
He picked up very little.
We need the horses to storm the castle. Where can I get these magical horses? I'll trade seashells for them.
It's important to recognize real quick. I fucking thought the movie was good. I had a tear in my eye at the end of it, but there were a couple
One
of
tear.
I don't know why. Why am I crying?
Yeah.
Why am I crying? I don't get it, but I'm crying.
Did you Google freedom afterwards?
I googled freedom. Apparently, that's
I cried my
when-
little eyes out.
This is why Danny wears the chin mask because he doesn't understand the freedom.
I don't have it on right now.
It's not. Doesn't have it quite.
This is
I know.
the first time you've
This
taken
is-
your mask off since I've seen you.
I love all the people that kind of wear. They're called the mask beards.
Yeah.
And then you get like
That's how he wears it.
And then you get the dudes that
Chin
have like
diapers.
the chin masks. I mean, they're kind of disparaged a little bit from like a beta male kind of thing because they don't have real beards like you. Like Ben has a great beard. I
Great
mentioned
beard.
this before. He's got great everything. All his hair quotient's great. What is it, keratin and collagen? Whatever does the
Yeah.
hair thing.
Yeah.
Ben has got it pumped
Well,
up.
I'm pretty much bald, so interesting of you to say. To suggest.
How are you bald?
Well, I'm receding like a motherfucker.
You look fine.
Yeah, but dude, you're like 35. That's a good. See, I'm 55. I'm on the back end. When
you look great.
when you
You
really
still got
get
a beautiful head of hair.
Yeah, but
you're a handsome man.
But I have the bald spot and I have the receding hairline. This is where you're gonna wind up.
yeah,
Oh,
but
you
you have the
look good.
Mercedes, bro.
I'm 20. I'm 20 years in the future.
In your spirit.
You're Bodhisattva.
Yeah, I'm
Just
20.
dye your hair.
That's why you
bleach.
guys like me. I'm
Dye
like,
your hair
I am the
bleach blonde.
I am the ghost of your futures.
That is so true.
Yeah,
though,
you
dude.
know, this is
That
it.
is so true.
This is
Yeah, we're him next.
One of the funniest things about you, Scotty, I have to say, is you are deep in that Bodhi sense, and you can still joke about it, which is interesting.
That's cool because you're not
Right?
so deep you can't see it from an objective perspective.
Yeah, it's funny when you make fun of it. That's like the funniest way.
Well,
to probably-
everything is funny.
It is. That's the funniest way to sell that whole mindset. It's like, oh,
If
I'm
you're-
gonna
what are
sell
the
you-
Jews
I'll
up
give you
to?
4 seashells for your Mercedes. Like that kind of
But I really-
self-awareness.
This is going to
very
make
big.
Right.
me
You
love
need
you.
that
See, when he
self-awareness.
does that, and I'm like, I'm going to have to hawk the Mercedes because part of this journey is everything has to be hawkable. You
gotta
can't be.
try it.
You can't. What is this? What am I trying?
You put it in your lip and it burns and it gets you high.
It burns like the
just
sun that's no
nicotine.
longer here.
Yeah.
It's really wonderful.
The absentee sun.
This
But
is
it really fucked me
What
up.
is this? This is like a new age skull.
For me, I used it to get off vape because I was tired of hurting my lungs. So now I'm
Thank
hurting
God
my
you
lips.
So
did
this is the Vake substitute
Yeah.
called Zen.
Yeah. It'll help get you off.
Will they be a
the
sponsor
vape.
eventually, or they'll hate our anti?
Is that Antarctica?
We have an anti-view. That's on you, bro.
I didn't tell you yet.
No, you didn't tell
Why
me.
do
what?
I have a little bit of fear doing this?
Me too.
Is it
Now,
the- is it
burns a
bottom
little
left?
bit.
Get it in
yeah,
your
bottom
cheek.
or top. I do top. I do
You're
both.
that level of spirituality where you're willing to try some weird bullshit.
Yeah, man. I
I
tried
love
just
that.
about everything in my life.
What I think is so funny is this "What are the Jews up to?" thing. You're not allowed to talk about Jews.
I've always wanted to be one of those padded lower lip fellas.
I've only
Candy.
ever,
I
before I
am
met
now.
my wife, weirdly enough, every girl I've ever dated was Jewish.
Was it clear to you that they are
What
part
were
of
they
the
like?
cabal that
Did you have
runs the
sex
world?
with them?
They said that I was seemingly Jewish.
He said he had sex with one.
You're like Jack Black's cousin.
I didn't seem Jewish, but they said
He's
that-
the only
I thought he was a
goyim who's had.
Roth. I
who's
thought he
made
was a
love
Roth.
to
Why do
Jewish
you
woman.
call Danny a Rothschild?
Because his grandfather's Rothschild.
You see, I never know who I'm hanging with. You guys are fucking frauds.
my grandfather.
I mean, Babe, Rothschild, Danny. It's like, who are these people who's coveting my stuff?
I call him. I don't know. One day
You're
I
gonna
came-
ruin my spiritual journey.
What?
I'm gonna
I
end up
always
like dead
call
in the
him
back
random
corner
names.
of Baltimore with all my shit gone and be like, we took all that Bodhisattva stuff.
I always call him random names.
USA Today.
My favorite name was Porcelain Rothschild, and that's what I'm calling him forever. Porcelain Rothschild.
What does that mean?
It's just the name I came up with for him.
He's talking about my past,
He's Porcelain
so
Rothschild.
you were kicked out of the Rothschild clan?
sort of. Like,
So why are you coveting my things?
why am I not accepting your seashells?
What? Well, if you have all the money in the world, why don't you take a couple seashells for your boat?
You're either eat or getting eaten, right? It's like the predator complex. I get it. I got to level up.
Yeah, but your family's nothing to slack about.
My dad worked for NASA and he was really good and he saved all his money and he worked his little plan. And
And
What did he
got
do
you.
for NASA since they've never actually gone out of the
from what I
atmosphere?
understand, and I haven't gotten too deep into this with my dad, he was some kind of a glorified air traffic controller.
Oh, that's cool.
Where it's like, where are all the satellites
Space air
today?
traffic.
And well, I think so. And it was like, okay, so he goes in, but then it was kind of like more of a management of Goddard Space Flight Center, like who picks up the trash. So my dad would go around in an administrative capacity to make sure Goddard Space Flight Center kind of ran. So he'd be like a working man on the job, and be like, oh, what can I do to make your trash routes better? And there's inefficiencies here. And then that's when they kind of put my dad like in a little box and said, this guy's being like too efficient. And that's when my dad went up against the system and started, because my dad's like that. He's a problem solver and he wants to make things better. He's got a heart like that.
Sure.
And then so when in NASA, he was like, oh, well, I just got to squeeze as much juice as I can out of NASA to have my spot in Wildwood and my spot in Florida.
Oh, that's
And he wanted to
cool.
retire early because his dad had died at 54. So he
What?
wanted to retire like 52 because he didn't know how long he was going to have. My dad has lived longer than any male on that side of the family. And he's now 84. And I just visited him
damn.
having knee surgery in
he's
Florida.
crushing it.
He's-
84 is late to have
He's
these
lived his life the way that he wants to, but now he watches like Parking Wars and Judge Judy and Fox News all day.
I watch
And
such
wonders
a-
why he's fucking cranky. All these people lie. What's wrong with these people? Pay your fucking tickets. I mean, my dad's like, Dad. And I'm doing Qigong with my mother outside.
And meanwhile, you don't have a license. You drive a Mercedes with the topless Mercedes.
And it tags that are 2 years old. The original temporary tag. I'm trying to hold this energy.
God,
I am
you're
trying.
so me in 10
I
years.
am trying to detach
swear to
myself
God,
from the
he's-
system, but you have to hold the energy of like, I feel okay driving around on tags that are 2 years old because I know these aren't the droids you're looking for. It's
I was
like
pulled
it's
over.
that energy, but my dad did that. He even when I visited my dad in Florida, in Wildwood, my folks have a great place up there, and he was like,
where he left your
son, and I
Corvette.
drove up there, and he started making fun of him a little bit, like, because it's like 16-person condo, so they all know my dad, and he does all the work up there, and everybody loves him. And he's like a light. My dad is like
A light.
doing his own little spiritual
Sure,
thing,
sure,
but
sure.
he's doing it within the rails, which is funny. It's like my dad's spiritual journey. I can recognize it. He plays golf, all these things, and
Nice.
Keep playing golf. So important.
this is too weird.
What do you think about that?
I think I got a piece of burning plastic in my mouth. You have a lot of artificial vices.
Yes.
that is true.
Like, you'll just shove this in, like, yo, this is in. Oh, it's going to cure my vape. And
Well, it did
now
cure
I
my
feel
vape.
dizzy.
yeah.
It did.
No,
yes.
I did earlier too.
It'll get you high. It's
Oh my
strong,
God, what is
strong
this?
nicotine.
My fingers are like going.
Tingling
It's
a little bit.
Plausible
Nicotine.
deniability line has been reached. I'm no longer responsible for anything I say.
What's up with these goddamn chemtrails? Why do we have this overcast?
Dude, this did something to me.
It gets you high.
Yeah, me too,
How
bro.
about the fact that we've
This
already
is gonna get
recorded
you
7.5 hours of talk? Well, it doesn't do shit to me anymore because I'm so hooked on it.
Yeah, but I can use it if I really want the impact. See, that's why you got to keep this virgin perspective.
You
Right.
dropped it
So
around
when
the
you
seats,
when,
now
when
you're
you
gonna
when
get
you
AIDS.
have your first line,
Right.
you know, I always want to be like the first line of the greatest Coke ever in anything I do in life. I want to have the gratitude and the appreciation of like, and that's what asceticism is. That's why I do cold showers and I fast, because it gets you to the point where the materialism doesn't matter. And when you can start detaching yourself from materialism, then you can have things like the Mercedes or fashion as fashion and style, and not like an obligation. Like I got to have this to get the chicks, or I got to have this to have status.
Cold shower
I do it
sounds like
because this is
hell
the
on
way.
earth.
It's great though. It woke.
You
dude,
know-
I
you
went
know
in
who's-
there and it was like, oh baby, it wakes you so up.
I'll bet it's like
It's the whole Wim Hof methods.
The
It's
thing is,
real,
there's
man.
no-
I breathe every day, do the breathing and
is the
Qigong.
appeal that there's no release. Because if you're taking a cold shower, the point of showering is there's kind of this
I'm gonna start.
great
I'm
relief.
gonna start teetering on.
You're fine, brother.
It's warm enough that you have a great sense of relief.
Scott
You're like,
collapses
"Ah,"
now
you
because
know?
of Zen.
You take a cold shower.
Lawsuit.
You never get that point where you're like,
Who are these Zen people?
who knows?
Chinese,
Campbell or
CCP.
something.
You got a lot of good lawyers, I bet. If you have like all, you know.
He's got all the best lawyers. He's the Rothschild.
This is great. This is we Danny. Can we talk
But
a little
I'm-
bit about Danny's
it's
relationship
important-
within this family? Because I'm sure they all wear masks and
I'm
once
the
you
black
get vaccinated.
sheep of the family by far.
But the black sheeps are
Well,
coming into their
what
own
would your
right now. In
grandfather
the age
have
of
thought?
Aquarius, it's like it's going to flip,
Yeah.
and it's going to be upside down.
They're
kinda
starting to realize
kinda
about
like-
the vaccine and shit. They're
What would
starting
your
to come to.
grandfather have thought about your political views?
Well, after like 6, they'll get around to it, right? It's kind
He
of like
said,
a retard
"Do not
test.
take it if it comes from China."
There's got to be something wrong with these
That's what he
vaccines.
said before he
This is
died.
my 6th vaccine, Mildred. I think something's fishy's going on.
is that when
here.
you bought the Honda?
He said, "Do not take that vax if it comes from China," and it came from Germany, and it, Pfizer
Through China, through
Through-
hidden,
right,
through hidden,
through
you know,
China.
yeah.
Pfizer?
Yeah, he was.
Pfizer!
He was such a cool fucking.
What was
dude.
that?
Pfizer!
Really, I kind of like that.
I never even thought
But
about that.
people are really doing that. They're hailing Pfizer. It's like
Oh,
a new
yeah.
god. It's like
Can we? I have a question, real quick. Just kind of. Why did it become so politicized? Do you think that
Because
Democrats?
they kept saying on TV it wasn't political.
Oh, it's a TV thing. It's
They
a
kept
media-
saying this is not political. which
But when you
they're
think about the
making it
dividing process and you separate all the
It's
things that are
crazy.
happening,
Why is
from
it
like
a
a
right wing thing to be like, I'm not wearing this?
It's a
thing"?
God's plan. It's like, well, you either see it or you don't. You either hail Pfizer,
buy into it or you don't buy into
or
it.
you trade seashells. It's like this is what's happening right now. That's the way I'm doing it anyway. That's the way I'm doing it anyway. I could crash and burn any day, Danny.